Dave Small, president of the Athol Bird Nature Club, and you are here for our first virtual annual meeting. And certainly, we would prefer to be together and like at the Legion home, like we've done so many times, and with Steve Raymond's wonderful chicken. And but this is the way of the world in 2020. So, but first, I'd just like to say that Bonnie Benjamin is here with me, and she's going to be my co-host tonight and help me with all the things that I'm going to forget to say. Also want to recognize Emily Carr, who's helping in the background, trying to make sure that things happen when they should, and to work on the screen images and stuff. So thank you, Emily, for your help and hard work helping to pull this together. But first, I just want to say what a week it's been. The weather has been fabulous. The birds have been numerous, and we've had some pretty good birds show up this week. Yesterday, I had a northern shrike in Petersham over on Maple Lane. Jeff Johnstone found a snowy owl at gate 35 in Quabbin earlier in the week. There have been evening grosbeaks, pine siskins, and even a few redpolls have shown up in various places, along with the red crossbills that have been around for a month or two. So, I mean, it's pretty interesting going into the winter. And I can just say that we are going to have a Christmas bird count this year, but it's going to be with COVID-19 rules in place. So no carpooling, and we're going to have to work on some things. And we will have a virtual tally on the evening of the 19th of December. So that's just a little news update, and we'll keep everybody posted as we move along there. So, so Bonnie, why don't you tell us what we're going to do?
Well, we've invited several of our volunteers to highlight what the fellow volunteers have been working on over this past year. And we'll start with the Habitat Garden at Millers River Environmental Center. We'll present Heidi Strickland and Ernie Leblanc.
Okay, great. And we'll turn off our videos. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Heidi Strickland, and I am one of the two people who do a lot of work around making the Habitat Garden happen here. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the background of the Habitat Garden. It's a garden around this center, and it started out being a major civic project conceived and developed by the North Quabbin Garlic Club. Today it is maintained and moving forward as a joint project of the Garden Club and the Athol Bird and Nature Club. The Habitat Garden reflects the natural areas of a region and aims for native species, which means all plants that were originally in this area before we started importing plants from Europe, China, Japan, or wherever. Birds, butterflies, and bees, and all insects really enjoy and need to have the native plants to prosper and to we need them to pollinate and keep our natural environment well and safe. So that's all I'm going to say right now.
Okay, thank you, Heidi. My name is Ernie Leblanc, and I'm also with the Bird Nature Club, and have been with the club for a number of years. And probably about 6 or 7 years ago, I became involved with the Habitat Garden, and a few people that I think are worthy of mention because they were involved with the garden or the setup of the garden in the beginning. Chris Long from Royalston, Deb Kent, who is one of the officers of the Garden Club, Joan Dupre, who has been involved with it for a long time, to name a few. When I started working here with Heidi, for the most part, Heidi and I have done a lot of the most recent work. plants along the Canal Street side, which I believe is called the west side. There were some well-established plantings there. There's hazelnut, there's serviceberry, there's some wild or high bush cranberry. So there's a number of plants there that all produce fruit of some sort, typically for birds. There's even myrtle or bayberry that is more typically found on the coast, and that's quite prominent there. But the, I think, focus of our more recent activities has been on the east side, adjacent to the parking lot. And one of the things with the club is that we try to coordinate and work with any number of other organizations. For example, the Garden Club. We've had a lot of support by the Athol Department of Public Works. They've done some tree cutting for us. Heidi has a good working relationship with Travis, and we're able to get mulch and compost when we need it, and that's helped us to kind of build up the soil, which is not so great around the garden. One of the things that I feel not proud of, but that we needed, was a plan. As most of you who are gardeners know, if you don't have a plan, particularly for flowers and things, you go buy a plant because you like it, and then you walk around for 15 or 20 minutes trying to find a spot for it. And that's typically what we were doing prior to coming up with a plant. Somebody would dig up a nice plant, we'd walk around, we'd plant it, and then maybe 2 or 3 years later we'd look and we'd say, oh, that's the wrong spot for it, we need to move it. So I collaborated with Lynn Harper, who that's one of her specialties. Lynn came up with a plan for the east side, and we've been working to that plan. We can change a plant that's in there, but if somebody says, well, I've got a plant, my typical response is it on the plan? And in order to qualify for inclusion in the garden here and in any of the areas, it has to be a native plant and native to the area. It can't be native to South Dakota. And because it looks pretty, we put it in. Not to say that we don't have any non-native plants, because a year or so ago we had some nice beautiful petunias that kind of self-sowed and came up, and we decided they looked nice and we let them grow there. But we don't try to propagate them.
And we've had non-natives sneak in through generous gardeners who didn't know they were not native.
Right.
And once they're there, they're pretty hard to get rid of.
That's correct. Now, as all of you know that have a garden, one of the biggest issues is keeping it under control from a weed perspective. And we have a nice group of volunteers that come in and work with us. We're all master weeders, but to name a few people that I can, and Heidi will kind of supplement that, but Emily Carr, Kathy Richard, Paul Goyette, Joan and Larry Dupre, Bonnie and Al Benjamin, to name a few, have been very good at coming.
Deb Kent has come, used to come by.
Yeah, and Chris Long has come by also. So
Right.
we have volunteers that keep weeding, and but as a whole, the garden is really starting to come along. Another person that I really want to mention is Nancy Goodman. In conjunction with the plan, Nancy Goodman donated probably 150 plants, a lot of asters and things of that nature that were put into the garden, and they now have become established. A little kind of side quip, when you're digging, it's archaeology, and I found 2 nice things out there. One was a spoon, and the other was a mutant ninja turtle figure that I gave to my younger son Christopher, and he said, "Oh, Dad, if that was in good condition, that'd be worth a lot of money." So we've had some fun working with the garden.
Right. And one of the things that happened like maybe 2 years ago, this is another outside service, is that 2 women arborists had 1 day a month where they could give a free day to any nonprofit. And so they came here and cut a lot of the trees that were in our way that also were not native, right?
Correct.
And that was really the beginning of us being able to really turn that area into a garden, get some light in there. And that was very exciting at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, another thing that I just thought of is that Elizabeth Farnsworth, who was one of the co-authors of the Fern books, was a very active member of the club. In fact, my understanding is was responsible for the most recent emblem that of the saw-whet owl that appears on most of our communications. We're having a little fern garden designed in memory of Elizabeth. And Chris Long has already donated a couple of ferns, interrupted fern and cinnamon fern, that are out there now. So we have a couple of areas to remember some of our past members, and another one is Lula Field, who passed away earlier this year, and we're trying to do something about that as well.
Working on the Habitat Garden and being involved with the Athol Bird and Nature Club is really a very exciting thing to do, and I always get excited when I meet people in the community who want to get involved. They want to help, they want to garden, they want to listen to the programs that we have. You know, and recently we've had 2 young people get involved very enthusiastically, and the Athol Bird and Nature has a lot to offer, and I invite everybody and anybody to get involved, to check us out.
Yeah, I think outreach is a good word for what the club tries to do. I remember at the 50th anniversary for Bob Coyle's recognition, saying that if you have a specialty that you're interested in for outdoor activities, the club has an expert. If you like birds, we have bird people. If you like rocks, we have geology people. If you like dragonflies, we have entomologists. So we have a wide range of knowledge, and everybody is looking to kind of impart that knowledge and enthusiasm to people. So you're always welcome here. The Habitat Garden, we're looking to label things. Everybody wants to know what it is. Heidi goes by the common names. I remember the scientific names from college, but we usually meet in the middle and we know what the plants are. So we encourage people to come and visit the center, whether it be to tour the gardens, to attend club meetings, which are being done virtually now, but there are virtual presentations which attempt again to bring people into the club's reach and to educate, which I think is probably the biggest goal that we have: educate and become good community members as far as the environment is concerned. We welcome everybody and encourage everybody to come to the garden. Today's environment with COVID makes getting together difficult, but we have outside gardens which you can tour and be socially distanced, and we want people to come and enjoy what's here.
Well, that was great, Heidi and Ernie. You know, a lot of hard work goes into the garden. We'd like to just say that the building and the grounds are owned by the town of Athol, which we lease. So that's why the DPW does assist us quite a bit with some materials and things that we aren't as easy to come by. But also, if you're walking around the gardens, look at the windows on Main, our great artist display that's outside also. And also nearby there's a geocache and a poking spot. So if you have other interests like that, there are those activities around. So, and also remember, look at the Athol Bird Nature Club website, atholbirdclub.org, and there's quite a bit of information about the garden there, and we welcome you to come join us. So On to the next topic, and the backbone of any naturalist club, of course, is the ability to get out in the field with learned people to learn a little bit about what's going on. And I know, Bonnie, you've been on several of these trips and around, and you had a couple of quick stories about, what you found in some of these.
I did. I have to tell you that on one of my very first trips was to the Cape Ann, I think. I'm not sure a lot of details, but we were going to see the piping plover. Everyone raise your hand if you've seen this. Yes, yes. Well, I was all excited about going, and sure enough, we drove up there, and there, right where the leader said they were there. Well, so I came back, and a couple weeks later, my parents were birders, and so they were here. Maybe it was Thanksgiving, I'm not sure, but I said, "You're not going to believe what I saw." And so I took them out there. It was a miracle for me, a newbie at this. I drove up where we drove just a couple weeks earlier, and there were those little cute piping plovers. Oh, so cute. It was a miracle. We found them again. And we've got the best tour guides for those trips, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the whole thing. It's not only just learning which birds are which, but where to find them and how to actually go to a particular area and find the birds that you're looking for. So we're going to, tonight we're presenting two of our longtime bird trip leaders and naturalists, Jeff Johnstone and Ernie Leblanc. And we're, both of those guys were in school with me. So we're all the same class, but it's great to have them, and we'll go ahead and listen to Ernie and Jeff talk about local field trips.
My name is Jeff Johnstone. I've been part of the Bird Nature Club since 1987. I lead the local trips Friday mornings, 7 o'clock in the morning to whenever, usually around 10 or 11. I've been doing it for a long time. It started off, we would go and try to see as many bird species as we could on a Friday morning. And it's kind of evolved into, now we try to see as many as we can, but we try to spend more time with each species and have people get a good look at them and get to know the birds a little bit more. COVID has changed that a little bit. We're limited to 8 people per trip. We must wear masks. We cannot share optical equipment, and the only way you can carpool is if you're a couple or you live in the same household. We usually go to local places not far from the center, but sometimes Quabbin, sometimes Orange Airport, but we try to stay local. We encourage new birders to come. I would rather have new birders than the same people every week. New birders are what we're all about. We once had a birder who showed up and said, "I just retired. I've been watching these trips for years. I always wanted to go on one. Is it okay if I come?" And he came, and we went to the sewage treatment plant, and I told him when he came in the beginning that if he saw something he didn't know what it was, or he saw something that looked interesting, to point it out to me. And all of a sudden he interrupted me. He said, "Hey, what's this bird coming across the road?" And I said, "It's an American bittern," and it was probably the best bird on the trip. And that's what it's all about. We try to get everybody to see the bird, or whatever birds are there. Some days are good, some days aren't. If you need a phone number to call me for a question, it's 978-249-9052, and I will answer any questions.
Hi, I'm Ernie Leblanc, and I've been a club member for a number of years. Most recently when I moved back to the area from the South Shore. One thing that Jeff probably, I know, didn't mention, but I think it's important for us and a lot of the club members, is we all got our start back in, I think, 1963 or 64 with Bob Coyle, and who was a 8th grade junior high school science teacher, and probably unique in many school systems. He had a unit on birds. And I remember going through, as a 7th grader, a little display and seeing some dead birds. And there's nothing more appealing to a couple of young guys than, because we were interested in taxidermy at that spot. But that was the genesis of our interest. And it's amazing how many people have stuck with the birding. Jeff and I are classmates. Dave Small, who's the president, is a classmate. And there are people spread out all over the country and all over the world that probably claim membership and ownership to the club. Jeff is been probably the biggest ambassador to the Bird Club and leading trips. He mentioned he's done it for a long time. I think it's 30 plus years, and I don't know how many hundreds of trips that he's done. I lead some trips also, typically not as many as Jeff, and I tend to go not local per se, although a couple of weeks ago we visited the Norcross Wildlife Management Area, which is up near the old Templeton Fernal School, for a trip, and to show you the reach of the club. There was limited to 8 people, including myself, so I had 7 participants. 2 of them were from the Brookline Bird Club, and another one was from the South Shore Bird Club. So the reach of the club is out there, so that there's interest across the state. Some of the other trips that I've led in the past get a little bit outside of the area. A popular trip used to be to go to the South Shore and visit Cumberland Farms, which is in Halifax and East Bridgewater. We'd go down to the coast to Scituate and Marshfield and Duxbury and Plymouth to pick up some of those birds. A lot of that stuff we don't see here, so that was always a good trip. Another trip that was quite memorable was a trip to Cape Ann and Gloucester, and had a fellow that who was an experienced birder that came on that trip. And if you wanted to see a bird in January, February at the coast, we saw it. We saw king-eiders, we saw Barrow's goldeneyes, we saw elsids, we saw snowy owls, and his thing to me was, after that, was he says, I don't care what trip you're leading, I'm coming on it. And that was just a unique day where everything fell into play. Jeff mentioned education, enthusiasm, and I think that's what it's all about for us, is getting people involved in birding, have an interest. You don't have to be an expert. We welcome particularly younger birders. And this was one of Jeff's trips that kind of stuck in my mind. There was a teenage boy who had, I think, Asperger's syndrome or some similar type of issue, but he was enormously involved and knowledgeable about birds. He could tell you everything about the eastern meadowlark and the western meadowlark and the differences between the two. And we saw a red-bellied woodpecker, which is pretty common around here now. And we got it in the scope, the spotting scope. And we said, do you want to see this? And he says, yeah. Sometimes if you haven't used a scope, it's difficult for you to see. And so we said, yeah, it's right there, take a look. And this was pre-COVID, so you could do that. No. And I looked and said, no, it's still in there. Do you see it? And all of a sudden, you could see his eyes go whoop, and he went, wow! And we knew that he had seen that bird, and that was a very rewarding experience. So trips are good. I brought along my camera, not that I am a good photographer, but more and more people are involved with photography now. I try to get photos to kind of document sometimes and then just to look at. So cameras are welcome. Some people nowadays have cameras with lenses out to here, and that's their binoculars. So we welcome you on our trips, and we want you to become part of the club.
Oh, yeah, just come. That's half the fun of it. Come and try it and see what it's like. It's a lot of fun, and Ernie and I have been doing it a long time. We can probably help you out with a lot of things. So.
Wow, that's great. You know, I just want everybody to know that we have lots of different types of trips throughout the year. This was probably the worst year for trips because of COVID. But next year we've got our plan together, and you know, we do trips for dragonflies, for wildflowers, for butterflies, and ferns and other things. So hopefully in geology. So hopefully those will be happening in the coming year. And if you're not on our email list, you should get on the list by sending an email to dave@atholbirdclub.org, or check out the website, www.atholbirdclub.org. And right now we're going to be moving to the geology section. And Bonnie had a good tour of that recently, and there was some pretty interesting things that we saw there.
Wait till you see this. It's in the quarry. The quarry is where we've got our rocks. Yes, it is. And our founder, Bob Coyle, he was the very first geologist in this location. That was his love. And he would bring, as Ernie and Jeff said, and Dave, the classmates, as they said, that they bring their 8th grade classes and spent a great deal of time reading topographical maps and recognizing landforms and looking at the maps. And they had a great time with this. They were digging into it. Got it? Digging in. Here you go. The experts in geology, Paul Kaczynski and Max McPhee.
All right. Here we go. How was it?
Good afternoon, Paul Kaczynski here. I was born and brought up in Athol, and not too far away from Silver Lake, and that's what got me started in geology. Silver Lake itself is a glacial kettle. It's about 13,000 to 20,000 years old. It was formed by Miller's River and Tully Brook, where a big piece of ice drifted up, got stuck on the ground, then melted away, and now we have Silver Lake. And the Native Americans people used it, and this is one of their tools that were around the area, maybe not found at Silver Lake, but close by. The other geology around the area, we have the Miller's River, which contains glacial potholes. We have balancing rock, which I'm working on today or recently, so we can describe what goes on around Athol and in Athol. And there are 2 faults that run through Athol. The first is the Ethol Fault, which runs north and south, and we see it from the Telly Dam area down into the Swift River Valley of the Quabbin Reservoir. And recently I asked if there was any sand dunes along the fault, and I haven't found the answer yet, but we're looking. There is the other fault, which runs between Greenfield and Gardner, Mass, and that is a stationary fault, and that was caused by the land lifting to the south of us, and at the end, which is along Miller's River, that is the fault along Miller's River. And you see it in the cliffs along Irving, Farley. You see it at the cliffs in Athol by south of Merrifield's farm. And it goes into the Otter River. And it's the best part about it, it's stationary, not like the Ethol Fault, which wiggles about every 21 years. And I can remember going through 2 or 3 earthquakes when I was young, living here. There's all types of, there's a pegmatite mine up on Pleasant, off of Pleasant, no, not Pleasant Street. I can't remember the name of the street. Up here, and they mined mica, but the mica books were only 4 inches in size, which was too small to cut parts of radio tubes to string the elements on, so they gave it up. The other things is, when I got started at Silver Lake, looking at the rocks and minerals, there is gemstones there are quartz crystals, there are pyrite crystals, and that's what got me started. I collected and collected and collected, and came to time to give them away because I couldn't use them anymore, or I'm not able to go out in the woods like I used to. So I donated them to the Athol Bird and Nature Club, who is now got them on display, and there are more of the local materials here in that collection than the ones that Bob had, because he collected from all over, and he has some beautiful specimens, and there's some rare specimens. There is the iolite crystals that come from southern New Hampshire, and we're going to get those out in a proper display system called Dana's System of Mineralogy.
Hi, I'm Max McPhee. I'm a member of the Athol Bird and Nature Club Geology Division. We are here in the quarry, which is in the basement of Millers River Educational Center, and I'd like to show you some of the wonderful specimens we have in our collection. This is a very spectacular piece of burl. It was collected in Raymond, New Hampshire, and you can find other examples of burl in the Athol area, in Orange, Athol, and nearby. We have, this is a piece of dye base. This is a gift from Harry Sharbaugh, and you can find dye base in the Northfield area. It is a volcanic rock, and it was created about 175 million years ago from cooling magma underground, which has subsequently been exposed by erosion. We have some lovely blue calcite, and as you can see, some of our collection is being cataloged and has associated cards to tell you what it is. And this is actually my favorite part of the collection. This is a piece of blue sodalite. It was a gift, it was part of the collection of Bob Coyle, and is a gift to the Geology Division from his son Chris Coyle. And we also have some calcite, which is the white, and purple fluorite. And if you come down to MREC at 100 Main Street, you can see all of these specimens in the collection. I'd also like to mention that the sodalite and the calcite and a lot of other things, like the dye base, are all fluorescent. So I'd like to show you what some of these look like in dark under UV light.
That kind of neat.
All right. All right, that's great. Thanks to Paul and Max for that. Again, as we work on the collection, Paul had quite a large collection of local materials, and we have other stuff from around the world actually. But the geology group is, slowly trying to get all that back in a nice orderly fashion with correct labels so that they can be enjoyed. And as Max said, one of his whole projects coming up in the next year is to create a case with ultraviolet light that we can permanently have some of these fluorescent minerals on display. You push a button and it would show up, and that would be a very cool display. I've seen that in some museums around the country, and it really comes out to be a nice thing. So if you want to know about the geology, again, www.atholbirdclub.org, and you'll find out more about what's going on in the geology world. So,
Dave, we should mention that it's all handicapped accessible. You go up the ramp, you take the lift, and you go down to the quarry.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're really pleased with the town of Athol, who own the building, and between the town and a big fundraising project that we did with the Athol Bird Nature Club, we raised $17,000 towards this whole project, and the town gave us another almost $70,000. So we really got quite a bit done with that, and we really always appreciate the support of our members in the community and doing all these different projects. So moving along, we really throughout the year we try to find different grants and so forth that we can use to further our mission of educating and communicating. And last November, which a year ago now, and it seems like 10 years ago now, but last year I applied for a grant with the New England Grassroots Foundation, and the grant was going to be awarded in April. Well, as we all know, a lot happened between November and April. I had planned to partner with Mount Grace Land Trust for a half-time intern to work at the half-time with us and half-time with Mount Grace. And it just, with COVID-19, everything fell apart. So the folks at the New England Grassroots Foundation were really great. They gave us a partial of the grant we want, not everything we'd asked for, because we weren't going to do that anyway. And we were to use the money in a hastily put together new application for to work on outreach, which is something we've been always trying to do more of. So the first thing we did was to subscribe to the Zoom webinar series for the year, and that's allowed us to have all of our different webinars that are posted on our website. And then also we were able to rebuild the website, and we really appreciate one of our newer board members, Emily Carr, for the hard work that she's put together to kind of make our website inviting and friendly and picturesque. So let's hear from Emily.
Hi, my name's Emily Carr. I'm a volunteer with the Ethol Bird and Nature Club, and I've primarily been doing some work with Green Clean Athol, the group that's going around town cleaning up some trash on the sides of our roads, and have also helped the club to relaunch our new website, which we're really excited about. And if you haven't seen it yet, you should check it out. We decided this was a great time to redo our website because we were really fortunate. We just received a grant from the New England Grassroots Foundation to do some communication-based projects and outreach to the community. So with COVID happening and things a little bit shut down right now, this seemed like a great opportunity to embrace that. We have had a website for a while. It'd been around for a little while, and so we decided, it was an opportunity to kind of lay things out in a clear way, maybe reach new audiences, maybe kind of rebrand ourselves as, a happening organization in the community. And so there's a couple goals that we had in doing that. One is just access to information about who we are and what we do and what we have to offer, how people can get involved. And so our goal in laying out the website was to make things really clear, make it easy for people to find the information that they're looking for, to learn a little bit about our history as a club. We've been around for a long time, and there's a lot of information to find there. And in doing so, we're hoping, we're located in downtown Athol, and we love this community and the surrounding towns. We have a lot of people that participate in our events from this area. But by kind of embracing our new website and some of the webinars that we're going to be offering, some of the videos and the resources, we're hoping that we'll actually be able to expand beyond the region. And so far, we've had some great feedback from people all over the country who've been participating in our events, which is really exciting because we have a lot to offer and we want to share that. We're also hoping through doing this that we can share a little bit about some of the other information we have that people might not think of. We've been doing field trips and events traditionally for a long time, but part of the grant that we just received, we're excited to be doing a lot of video series now. And COVID has done a lot of things to our normal way of life that aren't the best, but it's also provided us with a chance to kind of step back and say, what can we offer to our members and our communities in this time? And in doing so, we're doing a couple video series. So we're doing a series for kids where we'll talk about a lot of different aspects of nature and animals and rocks and trees. We have a video series that's a webinar series, so we bring in different speakers and they'll talk about different subjects targeted more at our adult learners. And we're excited because even though this was kind of necessary for COVID, it's going to be a really great resource moving forward. We think that we can get a lot of people involved. We can get a lot of good information out there, and hopefully people might start with a video series and then come to our next field trip because they liked what they heard. So we also have a few other resources on our new website that I would love for you to check out if you have the opportunity. One of which people might not know about, we actually have a pretty extensive nature library here at the Millers River Environmental Center. And actually the entire library has been uploaded to the web. So you can go on our website, you can go to the library, you can look for books on any kind of subject that you might be researching. If your kids have a school project on a particular nature feature, there might be a great resource that you can find there. We also, not quite yet because of COVID, but when things open back up, we have a beautiful space here at the Millers River Environmental Center that can be rented for events or workshops, classes, and so our new website makes that really easy to go online, find out if there's a day available, and book a room reservation here, which we would love to partner with people to do. And so that's another great resource that we have. We partner with a lot of different organizations in the area that share our mission. And so you may have heard about the Athol Bird and Nature Club, but have you heard of some of our great partners? And so we have a pretty extensive list of the different organizations that we work with. And I would definitely encourage you to check them out, check out some of the events and offerings that they have, and that can all be found on the new website. We're trying to bring in a lot of pictures of the things we do, and so even just going to our website to check out, the last field trip, we'll have a blog post about it, and you can check out some of the great birds that might have been seen, or some of the rivers that we might have investigated. And we're trying to increase the frequency of our blog posts, so definitely check back often. That might be just nature related, what's happening at this time of year with bird migration, but it might be about an upcoming event that we have, or something that you could get involved in, doing some volunteer work. We're always looking for more people to volunteer with the club. There's lots of opportunity there. And I just want to make sure I cover everything. And then just the history of the club. We've been around for a long time. You know, learning a little bit about our mission, where we've been, where we're going, where we're hoping to go in the future. And I think that all of that information is readily available on our new site. We're hoping to make some of our old members happy by giving them this great new resource, but also bring in a lot of new families, a lot of new learners, a lot of new participants through our new access to the web. And so I hope that that this is a resource for you. I would encourage everyone to go to atholbirdclub.org, check out our new site, follow us on Facebook because we will be sharing all of our blog posts to our social media. It's a great way to get involved. You can, if you're looking to make a donation to the club, if you're looking to volunteer with the club, it's super easy to do all of that through the website, and we hope to be in touch with you soon. Another great resource that we have on the website, I know that everybody's trying to stay outside and find something a little socially distant to do, and checking out our local bird populations might be in that category. And so if you scroll to the bottom of our website, we link to a resource called eBird, which is really cool. You can create an account and go out anywhere in our community, see what you can find for birds, and then log in and say where you saw it. And it's cool because you get to look and see who else is out there, what have they seen, what's kind of rare in our area, and what birds are there a lot of. So that's kind of a fun tool to use, and I would definitely encourage you to check that out. And that and all of these other resources, again, can be found on our website, which, if you haven't been to it, is www.atholbirdclub.org.
Well, thank you, Emily. That was great. I just wanted to say about the library, you know, Ann Spring is the one that that actually got all of the books in the library, you know, digitized and up. So it's pretty neat. So you go on the website and you can search for any particular subject. You can do that. And if you want to borrow a book, you just leave a note on the website, and we'll make an arrangement to get the book to you. So even if we're not open, we can make that happen. So so really a shout out to Ann, and again, there's all kinds of different projects that different members have been involved in, and it's sometimes it's not particularly obvious what's going on. So so that's great. So again, let's see, Bonnie, where am I? Am I supposed to be?
You're going to tell me to look at the next feature, which is Kathy and Claire.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're doing something with some kids program. What's that all about?
Oh, I can't wait. I've been waiting for this time. I am ready. What's more fun than children outdoors? And the adventure is just outside that door. You know, the squeals as they run through the leaves or the grass or the snow even. All of those things are great fun. Maybe a stream attracts their attention. All of those things. And you know, nothing is better than an adult pointing up the real live poop from an animal. Oh, the poop from an animal is awesome. Kids love it. From a real wild animal, kids and nature go together. Now, special events for families have been limited, of course, and all our school kids that would usually come in May and again in September, that's all been canceled. The birthday parties that would usually happen, they had to be canceled. But through that grassroots grant and the cooperation of our local access television station, everyone say it, AOTV, yes, and production manager Shane Brown. Oh, Shane, we couldn't have done it without you. We're able to continue to bring the outdoors into the homes of young naturalists. So Kathy and Claire have lots to tell about nature explorers. Take it away, Kathy and Claire.
All right.
Hi, I'm Kathy Richards. I'm a teacher naturalist. I live right here in Athol, and I've been doing a couple of the video programs, Nature Explorer video programs. Because of COVID, we haven't been able to bring people here to the center, so we decided to bring parts of nature to you. So I've done a couple of programs. I've done one on flower presses, so you can check that out, and maybe in the springtime you can actually make your own flower press. And just, they're really easy, made out of all the stuff that you have in your home. And the other program I've done is on owls. And I've talked about all the different owls that we have here in Athol, from the littlest to the saw-whet, to the biggest to the great horned owl. And you can check that out. Sometime owls should be starting to nest soon. The great horned owl starts to nest about January. So it's a perfect time to go out and check out owls in the evening. Check out our video series. You can learn more about owls on our video series. It's a really, really cool thing to do. Once this whole thing comes back gets over, you can come back and visit the center. For the time being, check out the videos on AOTV or Athol Bird Club. They're really, really neat. It's a really great thing that Athol Bird Club has been doing for the community.
Great, Kathy, so nice to hear. And I also contributed some time to make 3 programs for the Zoom technology part through AOTV and Athol Bird Nature Club. I'm Claire Green from Warwick, and I've been a member for close to 30 years now. I can't believe that, but currently on the board. And the programs that we filmed up at Cutthroat Brook Trail with where the Feldmans have a beautiful trail that you could hike there at any time. I did one about butterflies, and another one about clouds and observing the clouds, and one here at the center outdoors doing a self-guiding interpretation of the windows on Main, of which there are 14 that a variety of local artists contributed to, and there is a kiosk where you can read about each artist and take yourself on view around the center. And if you're with your family, because this center in the year 2020, it's been like no other, and it's been closed, but you can still access the outdoors, and that's the beauty of the Athol Bird and Nature Club. And you can come here and view the windows, see the habitat garden of flowers, or go next door via a little trail and go through the Cass Meadow and over to the Alany Ridge Park and see the changing seasons take place right there. And if you're there in August, you would be able to collect blackberries or grapes later in the fall. So nature still is offering quite a lot for our discovery. And here inside the center, when this reopens, you're able to be here in this learning environment and look at this beautiful wetlands mural that Bill Fournier did years ago, but a portion of this is presented outdoors on the windows on Main. And obviously you would not see all these animals at once in a wetland, but he was so amazed because he would go to this particular spot and over time see all the different animals represented. So indeed, he drew them all at once. And we have a little cheat sheet, if I may say that we can identify each animal. I'm sure you see the loons and the snapping turtle and the green heron and the blue herons nesting in a rookery. So more people coming through the center working. But here, when the center is back open, this can be accessed.
We'd like to invite you. This is your center, so once things start to open up, this is yours to come explore, to be a part of. We encourage you to send in your drawings to dave@atholbirdclub.org. There's always something happening around here, and usually when it's not COVID, we have special programs going on. We have birthday parties, school groups coming. So lots and lots of fun things happening here.
Right. Thank you.
Wow, yeah, that was great. So how many programs have you got in the works, Bonnie?
Oh, we've got more than I think we have 4 that are ready to go, that will be up soon.
Mhm.
But we have new people all the time that say, these are people that work for DCR or research organizations. And they've got the knowledge and we'll tell them and help them with putting it on the little screen. AOTV will help it happen. I think you'll love them. Look forward to seeing them.
All right, I know it takes quite a bit to get all this together and to organize it, and with AOTV's help to get them actually ready for broadcast. So we look forward to the series continuing, and it should be a great thing. So
Dave, before we go on,
yeah,
I wanted to mention that we saw a picture of Bob Coyle in
Yeah.
that last clip. And there he was with the school kids. When I would take my first graders, he would delight in saying, "Oh, let's see what Mrs. Benjamin knows." And he would find the most obscure question on the planet. How many millions of years was this fault formed, or something like that, just to show that the teacher is always learning too.
yep, absolutely.
Dave, I know you have some very good news and some interesting stuff about what's happening next, about spreading our wings as the Bird and Nature Club. Tell us what's new.
All right. Well, first, I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight, and just, I know it wasn't the party we've had in the past where we've been able to sit around and socialize and really, do all that stuff with Steve Raymond's food and all that. But we really, I'm glad we had a bunch of people cooperating and to put this video program together today. I mean, it was a work of quite a few people, and really appreciate the good hard work that went into it. And as we move along, I just wanted to say that while we've been closed, there's been a lot of activity going on at the center. This is the main hallway. You may not recognize it because on the left-hand side of the wall we're looking at here was Paul Kaczynski's geology collection on a bunch of wooden shelves. And there was a doorway and stuff, but we opened all that up, and with the hard work of our volunteers, it's going to be changed into a new gallery, and we'll be able to use this space a little more effectively. But also going on around the center, we've been able to, in the last month or so, the floors have all been cleaned and refinished. There's a new stairway going down to the basement from the east side that Ernie Leblanc was very, very instrumental in putting together. Paul Goyette and Max did lots of work in cleaning out some of the nooks and crannies of the cellar and stuff, and we actually got a lot of material recycled and up to the transfer station. And so it's just a lot of things going on all the time to help make our facility more user-friendly and more interesting. So the big work for the next couple of months is going to be to put together exhibits and work on actually figuring out our displays and how we're going to show the different. We have over 150 stuffed animals that been taxidermied over the years. So there's lots of material to work with, plus lots of photographs and posters and a lot about our history. So all of that is coming up in the near future. So again, check us out. If you have questions, don't hesitate to email or contact through the web, dave@atholbirdclub.org. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Well, a big part of our center has always been the chance to get together with great speakers. And we've had speakers from all over the country and on just an unimaginable array of different topics. So it's been one of our hallmarks around the state that people are anxious and willing to come and speak to our group. And we have a very interested audience. They ask great questions. and the speakers always give us high marks for having a great group of people as an audience. Well, in the COVID days, we've actually found out that we've actually been able to reach out to even more people than we would normally. And through the use of the internet and Zoom and the new technology, we're actually reaching a lot more people. And as we move into the post-COVID period, and we do have a chance to get back together in a room, we want to make sure that our equipment is upgraded to meet the challenge. And our current state-of-the-art equipment was purchased around 2002 and is pretty much in need of a good upgrade. So for our winter project, we're going to ask members and friends to go ahead and help us and work on getting us some new digital equipment that will be able to be permanently mounted in the main meeting room. And this will become our new Zoom studio. And we'll be able to have, until COVID-19 passes, we'll be able to have speakers in the room, be able to broadcast out on Zoom. And in the future, we could have speakers from anywhere in the world speak to us through the internet and actually have a live audience in the room. So it's going to cost us about $5,000 to put this all together. And we've already got a contractor willing to work with us. And everything we need to work with is in this package. So that's going to be our big project coming up for the next couple of months, to try to raise some extra money and get this functioning. So and there that is. So that's our, spreading our wings and really working on getting everything we've gained through we've learned through the COVID time. We don't want to lose that. We want to be able to still reach out to everybody. And it's amazing how many people that I've heard from that really are happy not to have to drive at night, and or through a winter storm or something to hear our speakers. So I think this format is probably here to stay, and we do want to get back in person also. But a hybrid thing is probably where we're going to wind up. So, so as we finish up, if you go to the website, www.atholbirdclub.org, and you'll find a new link there that'll take us to the Spreading Our Wings project. So, so I want to thanks to all the, thanks to everybody, whether you're on a trip, adding a sighting to the website, spreading the word about ABNC, and with other nature friends, and enjoying a webinar from across the country. We look forward to an exciting new year as we join others and spread the word and stay safe. Programs, people, and promise for 2021. Making connections, spreading our wings beyond the Millers River. So thank you all for everything you do.
We're going to look forward. We're going to look forward to hearing from you and how you can help with this, and join in at the Athol Bird Club as we are spreading our wings beyond the Millers River at atholbirdclub.org. Thanks everybody for joining us. Good night.
Good night, everyone.